Hi, good morning. Online people, please confirm my voice is audible or not.
Audible, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, as part of last session, we discussed about Dataproc, and within Dataproc, we discussed about how to run our jobs by using PySpark, and how to run our jobs by using Spark SQL, and how to run by using Spark SQL Unix Proc. And we discussed about jobs in the Dataproc, and we discussed about workflows. So these are all the different topics we covered as part of our previous session. Now we'll try to understand today same Dataproc jobs or workflows, how to trigger from Cloud SDK. Okay. So in the previous class, we discussed about all these from things from the console, and we discussed about all these things from the Unix prompt only. But today we'll try to understand how we can able to perform all these operations from the Cloud SDK. Because if you are going to work in the real-time projects, we are not going to get the access for the console. So for that reason, we need to understand how we need to perform the same operations with the help of the Cloud SDK. By using the Cloud SDK, how we can able to create the jobs, and by using Cloud SDK, how we can able to create the workflows, and by using Cloud SDK, how we can able to run our Spark SQL jobs. All these topics we'll try to understand as part of our today's session. So how to open the Cloud SDK? I think so many days back we opened the Cloud SDK shell. So how to open that? Just to go to start, search for SDK, open your Cloud SDK shell. And how to install the session in the Cloud SDK? You need to give gcloud init. And one more important thing, whatever the topics now we are going to discuss, these are all the important topics only, because in the tomorrow session or in the day after tomorrow session, we are going to start discussing about the airflow. Now, once we are going to start discussing about the airflow, what we are going to do here, we are going to perform the kind of orchestration. If you want to understand that orchestration, we need to understand how we need to create the jobs and workflows by using the Cloud SDK. Indirectly or directly, we are going to perform the similar kind of operations on top of our orchestration tool called as a airflow. That's the reason, try to understand the today's session. At the same time, try to perform the practice for the today's session. With that, what will happen? Easily you can able to understand about our orchestration tool called as a airflow. Okay. So please open the Cloud SDK. Please install your session.
Sir, I have a query related to previous concept.
Yeah, please.
Sir, once we enter into the putty, PySpark will be typed in there. After PySpark will there, 17 and more will become, sir. I mean, అంటే 17 అని వచ్చి ఆగిపోతుంది ఇన్ ద సెన్స్ PySpark అని టైప్ చేసిన తర్వాత ఎంటర్ చేసిన.
Okay, at the end of the class we'll discuss about it.
Yeah.
So please open your Cloud SDK shell.
The yes, no one, we need to give yes, sir.
Just
Why?
do it as a N.
N now. Okay. So I given yes, we can go back.
It's
I am
okay.
getting different.
You can give it as a list. You can give LIST.
Okay.
Or you can close the Cloud SDK window. You can open the window one more time. No issues.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so once you open the Cloud SDK, so next step, so please try to run this command. I will ping you in our group chat. So this is the command we are going to run. So we are given the command called as a set region, because as part of running all our Dataproc related commands from the Cloud SDK, for every command we need to specify the region. But instead of giving that region multiple number of times for each and every command, what we are doing here is we are setting our region by default. So to do that, just give it as a gcloud space config space set space this one. Just I'm pinging this command in our group chat. Please run the command, whatever I pinged in the group chat from the Cloud SDK. Purpose of that command is nothing but we are setting the region for your Dataproc. Otherwise, what will happen is in today's session, we are going to run the multiple Cloud SDK commands. For every SDK command, it is asking, please specify the region, please specify the region. Just to overcome that issue, we are setting the region as a default value. What is the value we are giving here? We are giving it as a gcloud config set Dataproc region as US-central one. Okay. Now, if you remember, in Dataproc, we perform one activity called as nothing but creation of the jobs. And by using the jobs, what we can do here? We can able to run our commands in text file format or in the text format, or we can run commands by using file also. But if you remember in the console, we are having some kind of issue from the GCP side. Can we able to pass the file path in the job in the GCP Dataproc? When we are given the file path, it is given the error saying that even after given the file path also, it is given the error. Please give the file path only. That's the reason instead of giving the file path, what we have done in the job, we given all the commands in the text format. By giving the commands in the text format, we ran the jobs from the console. But instead of running this from the console, what we can do here now, we can able to run the similar kind of commands from the Cloud SDK also. Whatever the way we perform this for GCS, if you remember, we performed all the activities from the console, and after that, we did all the activities from the Cloud SDK. In the same way, coming to BigQuery also, we performed all the activities from the console, and after that, we did all those activities from the Cloud SDK. In the same way, for Dataproc also, what we can do here, we can able to perform all the activities from the console, and also we can able to perform all the activities from the Cloud SDK. In the previous classes, we discussed about how to create the jobs from the console. As part of creation of the jobs, what we did, we given the text, which is nothing but we are given the commands, or we are having the file option, but in the console, there is a issue from the GCP side. For that reason, we are unable to pass the file in the console. And now, whatever the jobs we created in the Dataproc console, same activity we can able to perform from the Cloud SDK shell also. Now, if you want to understand what is the command we need to pass to do this operation, you can able to search like this. Just give it as gcloud space Dataproc. I'm given the gcloud. After that, we are giving it as a Dataproc. Just click on enter. Gcloud space Dataproc. If you observe, after giving the gcloud space Dataproc, it is giving all the options, and it is given the options as a clusters. It is giving options called as a jobs. It is given the option called as a workflow templates. Indirectly, by using this command, what are the operations we can able to perform? If you want, you can able to create the cluster, or if you want, you can able to create the jobs, or if you want, we can able to create the workflow template also. Already we performed all these activities from the console. Same activities we can able to perform from the Cloud SDK also. If you want to see what are the available options we are having, just we can give it as a gcloud space Dataproc. With that, you can able to create the clusters, or you can able to create the jobs, or you can able to create the workflow also. Now, what is my requirement? I want to create the jobs. For that reason, just I'm giving the same command again, gcloud space Dataproc space, I'm giving it as a jobs. Gcloud space Dataproc space jobs. Now, if you observe, when I given the jobs here, gcloud space Dataproc space jobs, and it is giving all the available options which are present in the jobs. By using the job, what we can do from the console actually, we can able to submit the job. Now, if you want, we can able to delete the job also, or we can able to describe the job also. But now my requirement is I want to create the job. If you remember in the console, whenever you want to create the job, we need to click on the option called as a submit job, and the same option you can able to see in the Cloud SDK also. What is the command we need to give here? We need to give the command called as a submit, which is nothing but we are giving gcloud space Dataproc space jobs space submit. We are given the option called as a gcloud space Dataproc space jobs space submit. After that, again click on enter. I'm given the step-by-step option how we can able to build the query instead of remembering the queries or comments. And now if you observe here, once I given gcloud space Dataproc space job space submit. If you remember, when we are creating the jobs from the console, what all are the available types we are having? If you remember, we are having the PySpark, one of the option. We are having Hadoop as the one of the option. We are having the Spark-SQL is the one of the option in the console. If you remember, in the console, which option we selected? We selected the option called as a Spark-SQL. As part of Cloud SDK also, I want to perform the same operation. For that reason, again, I give all the command and gcloud space, Dataproc space, jobs space, submit space, Spark-SQL. If you observe, I am building the command step by step. And so first I'm giving the only gcloud space Dataproc. With that, we understood you can able to create the clusters, or we can able to create the jobs, or we can able to create the workflow. My requirement is I want to create the job. Within the job, what options are available? Submit option. Within the submit, again we are having all these options. But my requirement is I want to trigger the Spark-SQL related job. For that reason, I'm given the Spark-SQL. Again, if you click on enter here. It's my mistake, and it's a jobs, not job. It's the jobs. Okay. Now, if you observe, as part of Spark SQL, we need to give these many number of options by depending on our requirement. And it is showing so many options, but all these options are mandatory, or all these are the optional. All these are optional by depending on your requirement. Whatever the option you want to specify, we have to specify that option. Now you try to give the answer. If you want to run this job from the Cloud SDK, what all are the values we need to provide? At least, do we need to provide our cluster name or not? At least you have to specify the cluster name. Otherwise, your Cloud SDK cannot able to understand from which cluster you want to trigger this job. And for that reason, at least we need to provide the cluster. After that, I am given the cluster name. Now, with the help of the Spark SQL, what you want to do? You want to run the queries, or you want to run the file commands, and which is nothing but for this command, at least we have to specify the queries, which is nothing but whenever you want to run this command, by default or compulsory, we have to give the two options. One is we have to give the cluster. After that, we have to specify the SQL query also. For that reason, what I'm doing here is I'm copying the same thing. If you want to give the cluster, what's the command? What's the argument we have to use here? We need to use the argument called as a ---- cluster. Please give ---- cluster. Now tell me from where we need to get the cluster name. Please go to your Dataproc console, and in the Dataproc console already you created the cluster day before yesterday. Please specify that name. I am going to my Dataproc cluster. Please go to your Dataproc cluster. From the Dataproc cluster, take the cluster name. At the same time, if you want to run from the Cloud SDK, your Dataproc cluster should be in the running mode, or that should be in the stop mode. That should be in the running mode. And if you stop your cluster, please restart it. Then only we can able to run the commands. Okay. In my case, my cluster is already in the running status. So this is my cluster name. Just I'm copying this name and I'm putting here. So this is my cluster. I given the cluster name. Now, first my requirement here is instead of giving the file directly, I want to run the commands. And if you want to run the command here, we can able to use the argument called as a -e. By using the -e command, we can able to run the commands by depending on our requirement. Now my requirement here is I want to see all the databases, and for that reason, just I'm giving it as a show space databases. Whenever you want to see the databases in the Spark SQL, we can able to give the command called as a show databases only. That is the query I want to trigger from the Cloud SDK. If you want to run that, we have to give the argument called as a -e argument. So I'm given the -e. After that, I'm given the show databases. Now indirectly, by using the Cloud SDK, I want to run a job, which is the type called as a Spark SQL. This job I want to trigger on the CDE batch 19 cluster. In this cluster, I want to run the type of the query called as a show databases. This is the one I want to trigger. Just click on enter. Okay. So in my system, I'm having the processor database, and also we are having the raw database, which we created 2 days before, and we can able to see all that information on top of your console. This is the way simply we can able to understand how we can able to run our Spark SQL related commands from the Cloud SDK. If you remember, same activities we have done on top of the console, but as I told you earlier, in the real time, we are going to perform these activities from the Cloud SDK. For that reason, today we are doing all these activities from the Cloud SDK. If you want, what I will do here is, I will share this command in the group.
Sir,
Now,
sorry to interrupt. Oh, sorry, sir. Region you said US Central 1. I'm getting the error.
what's error you're getting?
Run the previous command, sir. Gcloud config set to Dataproc region. That command, it is asking for me to say run.
Yeah, what is the command? What is the error you're getting?
The required property is not currently set. Gcloud config set Dataproc
Yeah,
region.
you need to run this command. Please run that
Okay,
command.
okay.
Whatever the command I pinged in the group, please run that command.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, if anyone didn't run this command, set the region, please run this command. Otherwise, for every command, it is going to ask the question, can you please set the region? That's the reason I told you, whatever the command I pinged you in the Telegram group for setting the region, please run that command. With that, we can able to overcome all the errors for the next commands. Okay. Whatever the command so far I showed you from the Cloud SDK, just I'm pinging on that one only. Now, if you observe here in this command, I want to display the databases. After that, I want to use the raw database. After that, in the raw database, I want to display all the tables, and which is nothing but I am giving multiple queries with the semicolon as a delimiter. Now with this, what will happen? It will display databases. After that, it is going to use the raw database. After that, it is going to display the tables which are present in the raw database. For that, just I'm giving this command to you. Now, if you want to run this command on top of your system, what changes you need to perform? Please change your cluster name, because in my system, my cluster name as a CDE batch 19. In your system, whatever the cluster name you are having, please give that name only. At the same time, here I given the database name as a raw_db. Might be as part of practice, you given the some different name. If you are given the different name, please specify that name here. Then only this query will execute. Just I'm pinging you. This is also in the group. And don't think that we are doing the kind of copy paste operation. I explained all the things, how we came to this stage only. First, we given the Gcloud space Dataproc. With that, we saw all the options for creation of the cluster, creation of the jobs, and creation of the workflow template. But my requirement is I want to create the jobs. Then we given it as a Gcloud space Dataproc space jobs. With that, we saw the option called as a submit. Within the submit, again we are having the option for Spark SQL, and we are having the option for the PySpark. But my requirement is I want to submit the Spark SQL related job. For that reason, we given the Spark SQL. But whenever you are given the Spark SQL, we need to give the argument called as a ---- cluster. And if you want to run the query, we need to give the argument called as a -e and -e. Just for your convenience, I given this command in the Telegram group, but try to understand what all are the different options we are giving as part of this whole command.
It's giving me error.
What's the error? So whenever you are getting any error, try to understand what is the error. By seeing the error, you can able to understand what is the mistake you are doing. What's the error? Can you please read it once?
Jobs.submit.spark.SQL not found. not from cloud projects, class, regions, year center.
I already told you, right? So you have to set the region and so whatever the previous command I given, please run that command. In the group, I given one command to set the
Yes.
region. Please run that one. Other people, anyone facing the issue? Because in the same way, so in today's entire class, we are going to run the multiple commands from the Cloud SDK. If first one is going to run, obviously other commands will run without having any issues.
Working.
That's the reason. Please follow my instructions clearly, Andy. If you join late, might be you are missing all those things. So try to join on time. So with that, you can able to understand all the instructions properly. With that, you won't get the errors. Okay. Now see here, just for understanding, I showed you this example, Andy. So here in this example, what I'm doing here, I am giving all the queries one by one. But now my requirement is, I don't want to give the queries like this, Andy. I want to pass whole the queries at a time. And if you remember, as part of our previous classes, we discussed about how to perform the drop operation, which is nothing but a kind of a cleanup activity. As part of drop SQL, what we done? I want to drop the raw_db database and I want to drop the processor_db database. After that, I want to load the data into customer_london.sql. If you remember, in this one, what we did? We created database if not exist. This is one command. After that, we are creating a temp view. After that, we are creating a table. Like that, we are having the multiple queries to run if you want to load the data into the customer_LO table. But in the same class, we discussed about one more option, Andy. Instead of running these many number of queries one by one, what is the one more option we discussed?
Scripts, creating the scripts.
Copy all the queries into one script. For the script, we are given the name as a with the suffix called as a .sql. After that, what we did? We copied these scripts into our GCS bucket. After that, if you remember how we submitted the script, Andy, we given Spark SQL -f. After that, we given the file name. So with this option, we ran everything from the Unix prompt, Andy. But now my requirement is I want to perform the same operations from the Cloud SDK. If you want to perform the same operations from the Cloud SDK, indirectly what you want to do here again, you want to submit the job. If you want to submit the job, again, are we going to use the same command or we are going to use the different command? We are going to use the same command, but now your requirement is you want to run the individual queries or you want to run the script. I want to run the script, Andy. Whenever you want to run the script, just we are going to use the one more argument called as a -f argument, and f is nothing but file. Whenever you want to run the queries by using a job, we are given the option called as a -e. But whenever you want to run the script, then we are going to give the option called as a -f, Andy. Now, if you are given the -f, indirectly you want to trigger the script, which is nothing but you want to trigger a file. But where we are having this file? Already we copied the file into our GCS bucket as part of our previous classes, Andy. That's the reason I'm repeating every time. Every topic is interlinked and every section is interlinked, Andy. If you missed one section, if you have to perform the practicals in one section, you cannot able to understand the next section. That's the reason I am telling that every topic is important, every session is important. In the previous class, if you remember, in the Unix prompt, we created one folder called as a scripts folder. In this folder, we created around 7 SQL files. After that, we copied all these files into GCS bucket. After that, we ran Spark SQL -f script command. So this is the one of the topic we covered as part of the previous classes. Indirectly, I'm trying to say whatever the scripts are required now, all those scripts are already present in your GCS bucket. For any reason, if those scripts are not present in the GCS bucket, now what you have to do? Please copy the scripts into GCS bucket. With that, you can able to perform these operations, Andy. Now here, how many scripts I want to run? Yeah, please.
Sorry, sir. So like yesterday, like day before yesterday, when we created the scripts, it is not loaded into GCS, right, sir? Because we didn't given any path like GS and this type of paths. So directly we created scripts. I thought it is going to Unix shell like Unix VM, it will be stored. I ran that whatever the scripts also.
Okay, now what you can do here is simply give it as a. So if you want to copy the scripts from the Unix to GCS, what you can do now? For example, on that day you have to copy it to the GCS. Now, for example, in the Unix prompt, already you are having all the scripts and now what I'm telling, if you want to run these commands, we need to have all these scripts in the GCS. What is the command we can able to run? Just give the command called as a gsutil copy. Just give it as star dot star. After that, give your bucket name. In the bucket name, just give the folder name is, for example, scripts. With that, what will happen? Whatever the scripts you are having in the Unix prop, you can able to copy all the scripts into your GCS bucket. With that, you can able to trigger these commands. If you already did this activity, it's well and good. Otherwise, so for example, somebody is saying they didn't perform that activity, and if you have to copy your scripts to the GCS bucket, how we can able to copy? Is it a simple activity or a complex activity? This is a simple activity, and please open your partition. Just I'm telling the steps here. Please open partition, and in the partition, please go to your scripts folder. After that, just give the command called as nothing but gsutil space copy space star dot star. What is the meaning of star dot star? I want to copy all the scripts into my GCS bucket, so we have to give it as a star dot star. After that, please provide your bucket name. And within the bucket, I want to copy all these scripts into, for example, into the scripts folder. That's the reason just I given the name as a scripts and which is nothing but if you are going to run this command automatically, what will happen in the Unix prompt, whatever the SQL scripts you created, you can able to copy all those scripts into your GCS bucket. If you perform this activity already, you can able to skip this step. Otherwise, please perform this activity. Any questions or any confusions up to here, please ask me. And again, I'm repeating, if you want to perform all these activities, what's the prerequisite? And your cluster should be in running mode. If it is stopping mode, please restart the cluster. That is the first activity. At the same time, please open the partition to perform these kind of copy activities. If you are already having the scripts in the GCS bucket, then no need to perform the copy operation separately. But if you are not having the scripts in the GCS bucket, don't think it's a very complex thing. It's a very simple thing only. Just to give the gsutil copy command. With that, try to copy all the scripts into your GCS bucket. And prerequisite is your cluster should be in the running state. And please open the partition to perform these kind of copy activities. Okay. Now, if you are done with all these activities, Sunday, now what we can do here? Simply we need to run these commands. So again, I'm telling I'm not discussing any new topic as part of this command. The only thing is nothing but instead of giving the -e, I am giving it as a -f. F is nothing but file, because all commands we are having in the SQL file. By giving the file, I want to trigger all the commands at a time. That's the reason we are giving the -f only. With the help of the -f, we can able to perform all these activities. Again, I'm repeating the same question. Are we triggering the workflows here, or are we creating the jobs here? In this example, we are creating the jobs. Okay, first to try to understand how we can able to perform the same activities with the help of the jobs. And once you can able to understand how to perform these activities by using the jobs, then I will explain how we can able to create the workflows from the Cloud SDK. With that, you can able to understand end-to-end activities of your Dataproc from our Cloud SDK shell. Once you copied your files to the GCS bucket, please start running all these commands one by one. Otherwise, just for your convenience, I am pinging all these commands in the Telegram group. Here, what's the modifications you need to perform? Please change the cluster name as per your cluster name, and please change the bucket name, and please give the path of your folder and otherwise what will happen? Again, you will get the error and you will reach out to me. Don't do that kind of mistake. Please give the cluster name and please provide your bucket name. Please provide the path of the scripts folder in the GCS bucket. By doing all these operations, you can able to submit all these jobs. might be some people will think that, sir, how many days you will repeat the same use case? Don't think about the use case. And already we discussed about the use case. Now what we are discussing, how many ways we can able to run the use case as part of our real-time projects. Already we discussed about the jobs from the console, but today we are discussing about how we can able to perform the same operations from the Cloud SDK shell. Please think in that angle. Don't think that why we are doing the same operations multiple times, and we are doing the same operations, but earlier we did these operations from the console or from the Unix prompt, but today we are doing the same operations from our Cloud SDK shell. Please think like that.
Sir, sorry, sir.
Yes,
So actually, with in the Unix LSLTR, I am able to see scripts
okay.
that is present in the MRK test. That is my
Okay.
like ID.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm trying to use ls hyphen LTR. That means that is present in the Unix shell, right, sir?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so I'm using the gsutil cp star dot star space in the double quotations I'm giving the path of the bucket gs data my and the scripts.
Okay.
So this is in the double quotations only, right? For copy
without double quotes also you can able to give it to me.
Okay, so if I'm giving that, so no URL matched with star dot star error I'm getting.
Okay, can you please verify in which folder you are working currently? Can you please check the PWD? Can you please give the
PWB. So it's yeah, it is home MRK. This is the one Unix shell one.
Okay,
I given
one thing. Please give it as a star.sql and please remove the double quotes of your GCS path and try it once.
Okay. Okay, star.sql. Okay.
Yeah.
I got it. Star dot.
Anyone else facing any issues, please let me know. Online people, just 1 second. Offline people are facing one issue, just 1 minute. I will be back. Okay. Okay, I'm back here, Andy. If online people are facing any issues, please let me know.
Still I'm getting same issue, sir. Dot SQL no URL found, like that I'm getting error.
Sir, can you give me gsutil cp star star command to copy the script folder, sir?
1 second. Just I'm going opening my Unix prompt. Other people, you are facing any issues, or is it working fine for you? Okay, so if you observe here on this, so here I'm in the, for example, in the CD scripts folder. Okay, I'm giving the PWD, which is nothing but in which folder I'm working currently. I'm working in the scripts folder. So just I'm giving the ls-LTR. So with that, I can able to see all the SQL files. Now my requirement is I want to copy the files, and just I'm giving it as a gsutil space copy space star dot star space. Then I'm giving gs:// my bucket name is Dataproc 19. Now I want to copy these files into, for example, scripts 2 folder, because in my bucket already I'm having the folder called as a scripts folder. For that reason, instead of scripts, I'm giving the folder name as a scripts 2 folder. Just click on enter. It's working, right? So what's the issue you're facing? I'm not getting.
So here the issue is, I think the CD, I am not in the scripts folder.
Earlier,
So-
I clearly asked you, right? So please give the PWD command. So by giving
Ah.
the PWD command, you can able to understand in which folder you are working, which is nothing but in which folder you are having the SQL files. These are the basic things, Andy. So without present in the scripts folder, how you can give it as a starter star?
No, before that, I'm in the, actually in the, before the scripts folder, I'm in the main folder, right?
No, you should be, yeah, in the main folder. From the main folder,
So
you need to
from
go to
that,
the
I'm trying
subfolder
to-
also. No, you need to go to the
Okay.
subfolder. Otherwise, how it can able to understand, it need to go to the subfolder. Otherwise, what we have to do here, instead of the start dot star here, you need to give the complete path. Your main folder
Okay.
/ scripts folder / something like that. See, same operation we performed on the previous class also, Nandi. If you remember from the cloud SDK also, we copied the files from our local system to the GCS, I think 2 days back. Same operation we are doing here. We are not doing
Yeah,
new
yeah, we are
operation.
repeatedly doing that. But if once again we are coming to the practice, the things are not recollecting that one.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, other people, someone is asking the question, please copy, give the comments. I'm giving the comment only. So if you're given the start dot star, again I'm repeating, please be present in the scripts folder. If you are in the other folder, if you're given the start dot star, you cannot able to understand from where it need to copy the SQL files.
Okay, now it's working.
So don't take me wrong, Andy. So if I need to explain all these basic comments again in the every class, what will happen is it will take a lot of time. I can understand you are working newly, all the people, but just I'm telling that. Okay, so once you copied the scripts, whatever the commands are shared with you, please run those commands and please try to recap by using these scripts what we are doing, Andy. With the help of the drop SQL, what we are doing, we are removing the existing databases. That is the first operation. By using the customer underscore LOSQL, we are loading the data into the customer table, London table. By doing what operations? Reading the data from the JSON file, converting that JSON file into the Parquet format. On top of the Parquet format file, we are creating the table called as a customer underscore LO table. In the same way, we are creating customer NY table, salesman LO table, salesman NY table, and orders table. After that, in the last comment, what we are doing, just we are loading the data into the target table called as the result summary table. Don't expect again, I'm going to repeat all these explanation because already we have written same kind of scripts in the previous classes. Just we are running the scripts by using our cloud SDK command. Please try to recap before running these commands, what operations we are doing. If anyone facing any issues, please let me know because this is the one of the important topic as I told you at the beginning of the session because similar kind of activities we are going to perform in our 8th block orchestration only. If you understand what we are doing here, same activities easily you can able to understand with the help of our orchestration tool. Every section is interlinked. Please try to understand that. So once you run all these commands to ensure whether it is working or not, or whether our data is loaded or not, please go to your buckets and as I told you earlier, whenever it is going to create the database in the bucket, it will create the folder. In that folder, you can able to see all the tables information. In that table folders, you can able to see all the Parquet files. In the Parquet file, please verify when that file is created. It should display the today's date and the latest time. With that, you can able to ensure that your commands are run properly and data loaded also properly. Again, this is the one of the interview question. And in the interviews, they will ask a question. Can you please give the command how we can able to trigger the jobs from the Cloud SDK shell? Then you should be in the position to give the answer for this whole command. Okay, anyone facing the issues? Offline people? You are done? You create it. So otherwise, online people, any issues? Okay. If no issues and if no one having any issues, so then we'll think about discuss about other topic here. Now see, so far we discussed about how we can able to create the jobs by depending on our requirement. Now my requirement is I want to perform all these operations with the help of the workflows. Again, in the shell, in the console, we discussed about the workflows. Now I want to repeat the same activities from the Cloud SDK. Now tell me here, what is the purpose of the workflow? Anyone? Why we are going to the workflows? Already we are having the option for jobs.
The
To set the
dependency.
job
Dependencies.
dependency.
In
set
workflows,
the
what we can do?
schedule
We
the
can set
Dependencies.
dependencies. This is one thing. At the same time, we can run multiple jobs at a time. By depending on our requirement, we can run the multiple jobs at a time. At the same time, we can able to define the dependencies also. That's the reason we are going to create the workflows only. Already we discussed about how to create the workflows from the console. We'll try to repeat the same activity from our Cloud SDK shell, how we can able to create the workflows. Now you try to give the answer. Any guesses how we can able to frame the command from the workflows? Like the way we created for the jobs, we can able to follow the same steps. And I will show you the steps. First, I'm giving gcloud space dataproc. If I'm giving the gcloud space dataproc, it is displaying all the options. It is displaying the clusters, jobs, and workflow template. Now, what is our requirement? I want to create the workflow templates, and for that reason, I'm giving gcloud space dataproc space workflow templates. Now I want to understand within the workflow templates, what all are the arguments I want to pass. I don't know about that. For that reason, I'm giving gcloud space dataproc space workflow hyphen templates. Again, click on enter. If you click on enter, it is showing that here what are the operations we can able to perform. gcloud dataproc workflow template. What operations we can able to perform? Either you can able to add a job to the workflow, or you can able to create the workflow template, or we can able to delete the workflow template. You can able to see all the options only. But now what is our requirement? I want to add the job, or I want to create the workflow first. First, we need to create the workflow. Then only we can able to add the jobs. And for that reason, what I'm doing here is I'm taking the same command, gcloud space dataproc space workflow hyphen template. Now I want to create the workflow. But if you want to create the workflow, I don't know what all are the arguments I want to pass. For that reason, just I'm giving the create command. After that, click on enter. With that, you can able to see available arguments. See here, what are the arguments we have to give? We have to give the template name, and we need to give the region and all this information. These are the information we need to provide. And now what I'm doing here is just I'm giving so I'm given my workflow name is, for example, workflow underscore SDK underscore 2. Just we are given the create command. After the create, we need to pass the workflow template name. I am given the workflow template name is nothing but, for my understanding, WF underscore SDK underscore 2. Otherwise, if you want, you can give any naming convention, no issues. Okay. Otherwise, first listen here and so after explaining all the things, then you can able to perform your practice. Please listen here. Now tell me, here we created the workflow. Created the workflow by using the command. Now for this workflow, what activity we need to perform? We need to add the job. Try to recap what we did in the console. In the console, what we did, we clicked on the add job. With that, what we can do here, we can able to add the job. But tell me, as part of adding the job, what are the parameters we passed, if you remember? What are the parameters we need to pass if you want to add the job from the console? We need to give the job ID, which is nothing but, for example, I'm giving the name as a drop. After that, we need to specify cluster name. After that, we need to specify type of the job, whether it is a kind of a Spark SQL job or it's a kind of a PySpark job. That is the information we need to specify. After that, we need to provide either text or we need to provide the file. But as I told you earlier, in the console, file option is not working. But from the Cloud SDK, it is working, and which is nothing but either you have to give the text or you have to give the file. Now you tell me, if you want to give the file, which argument we need to pass here? We need to give -f. If you want to give the comments in the text format, then which argument we need to give? -e. By depending on our requirement, we need to provide the argument. After that, what else we need to provide? We need to provide, is there any dependency? Right? This is the one important thing we are doing on top of the workflows indirectly. After creation of the workflow from the Cloud SDK, we are going to add the job ID. But as part of adding the job, we need to pass all these kind of arguments, because in the console, we given all these arguments, same kind of arguments we need to pass in the Cloud SDK shell also. For that reason, so this is the way we are going to write our command ID to add the job. Just I will show you this. Just observe. So what I'm giving? I'm giving the G-Cloud Dataproc. After that, I want to do the workflow template operation. In this workflow template, what operation you want to perform? I want to add the job. What type of job you want to add? I want to add the Spark SQL job. And for this job, I am given the name by using the argument called as a step ID and D. By using this argument, I want to give the job name. What is the job name I'm giving here? I'm giving the job name as a drop. Now, as part of running this job, I want to trigger this from the file. For that reason, instead of -f, here we are giving it as option called as a -file and D. By using this, what we can do here, you can able to give the file as a argument. After that, I want to add this job for which workflow? I want to add this one for my workflow name. So if you want to give the workflow name, we are given the argument called as a -workflow template. This is the workflow name we are giving here. Now in my example, workflow name is different, so we have to give it as a _2. So this is the way we can able to add the job by depending on our requirement only. So you have to give it as a G-Cloud Dataproc workflow template. After that, we are given the argument called as a add job. What type of job we want to add? I want to add the Spark SQL job. For this job, I am given the name called as a drop. But if you want to give the name for the job, we are giving the argument called as a --step ID. After that, in this job, I want to trigger the script from the file. For that reason, we are given the argument called as a --file. And I want to add this job to the workflow. To which workflow you want to add? For that reason, we are given the argument called as a -workflow template. There we need to give our workflow template name. This is the way we can able to add the job ID. But now you tell me, like this, how many number of jobs we need to add actually? We need to add total 7 jobs. Now actually, if I want to run the second job, what I can do? Just I'm given the same command. Here instead of drop, I'm giving it as a, for example, customer_LO. Now for this job, from this script you want to take the data. Instead of drop, for example, I want to take the script called as a customer_LO, because in this script we are having all the commands to load the data into the customer London table. That's the reason that is the file we are giving. And this job we are adding for again which workflow? For the same workflow. But tell me, that's it, or do we need to perform any other operations for this job? For this customer_LO job. Coming to drop job, there is no dependency. For that reason, here we are not giving any dependency information. But coming to customer_LO job, what is the dependency? There is the dependency. After completion of drop job only, I want to trigger this job ID. For that reason, for this job, we have to give the option called as a after is equal to drop. So this is the argument we are giving. Just double check, is it correct or not? So we have to give the argument like this. So this is the argument we need to pass. We need to give it as a start -after, which is nothing but By using this argument, we are going to give the dependency and so with the dependency, what is going to happen after completion of the drop job only, it is going to trigger our second job. This is the way we can able to provide the dependency for each and every job. Coming to first drop job, we are not giving any dependency because there is no dependency. But for the remaining jobs, we have to give the dependency. How to give the dependency here? By using the argument called as a hyphen start hyphen after. By using this argument, we can able to provide the dependency. For this one, I'm having the dependency on the drop job only. That's the reason we are giving this step ID value here. With that, after completion of the drop job only, it is going to trigger the customer underscore LO. But tell me here, by using these commands, just we are adding the jobs or we are triggering the jobs? By using these commands. By using these commands, we are preparing the workflow. Don't assume that we are triggering the workflow only. What we are doing here, in the first step, we created the workflow. After creation of the workflow, we need to add the jobs. After adding all the jobs, at the end, we need to trigger the workflow only. For the reason, if you want to see end-to-end operation, these are the commands we need to trigger. Now, just I will show you all the commands at a time. So please, next 3-4 minutes, please observe here and with that you can able to perform your practice. Now, first step is nothing but I am going to create the workflow by using the command called as a create command. Here I'm giving the name as a _2. By using this step, what we did, we created the workflow from the Cloud SDK shell. After that, we are discussing about the add job and but in between we need to perform the one more activity, which is nothing but for this workflow, we need to assign the cluster. This workflow we need to run, but on which cluster we need to run, that we don't know, right? That's the reason we have to specify that information. But if you want to give that information, we are given the command called as a Cloud Dataproc workflow templates. Here, I want to set the cluster. If you want to set the cluster, we have to give it as a set cluster selector. After that, you need to provide your workflow name. After that, we need to specify the label of the cluster. So what is the label we are giving here? This is the label. If you remember in the previous class also, as part of creation of the workflow, we given the label and the same label we have to specify here. But only difference is earlier we given it like this. By using colon, we given the cluster. In the console, whenever you want to give the label, we apply the colon, but coming to here as part of Cloud SDK, instead of given the colon, what we have to give here, we need to give it as a equal to symbol. With that, we can able to give the label. By using this command, what we are doing here, we are attaching the cluster to your workflow template. After attaching that, then what we are doing here, we are adding all the required jobs. And if you see the first one, what is the job? Drop job. We are running the drop.sql. After that, I want to load the data into the customer underscore LO table. For that reason, I am creating the one more job. For this job, what is the dependency? Drop job. Next one, customer NY. For this also drop is a dependency. Next one, salesman LO table. For this also drop is the dependency. Next one, salesman NY. For this also drop is the dependency. But if you see the last one, for the result summary, we are having the one job dependency or multiple job dependencies. Obviously multiple jobs. For that reason, here we are given the same argument, but here we are given the single job or we are given the multiple jobs. We are given the multiple jobs and we are given the drop, customer LO, customer NY. We are giving all these jobs information, which is nothing but in the previous commands, whatever the step ID values we are giving, all those step ID values we are giving only. Like that, you can able to create the workflow, you can able to assign the cluster to the workflow, and you can able to add the jobs to the workflow. All these operations we can able to perform with the help of these commands. Okay. Any questions up to here, please ask me. Otherwise, I will ask the question, one question here. Tell me how we can able to get the label. How to get the cluster label?
In the VM workspace.
Yeah, please go to your console. In the console, please click on your cluster.
VM instances.
Once you click on the cluster, please go to the configuration. In the configuration, here you can able to see the labels and these labels you need to copy. Otherwise, just if you want to save the time, you can able to do the same command. Only thing is nothing but here, instead of cd --19, please provide your cluster name. But as from my side, I'm telling that if you want to get this label, where you need to go, click on the cluster, then please go to the configuration tab. In the configuration tab, you can able to pick the cluster name or label name. With that, you can able to assign the cluster to your workflow. And again, I'm repeating, in the
Sir.
console we given by using the colon, but in the cloud SDK, please don't give the colon. If you are going to give the colon, it will give the error. Instead of colon, here we have to give it as a equal to operator. Yeah, please continue. Somebody is asking the question.
Yeah, here add job is the keyword and Spark SQL. From that we are selecting, right, sir? Or add separate and
No, so add job is a kind of a argument. Now, what type of job we want to add? PySpark job or Spark SQL? I want to add the Spark SQL. So we are given the option called as a Spark SQL. But if you want to add the job, we need to give the argument called as a what is your job name. To give the job name, we are given the option called as a -- step ID. In this job, I want to trigger the script. For that reason, we are given the file argument. Now I want to perform all these operations on top of this workflow. For that reason, we are given the option called as a workflow name. But how to give the workflow name? By using the argument called as a workflow template.
so some is having a two hyphens, some is not having any specific reason for that, sir, or it's a normal?
No, that is the way
general.
they defend. That is the way they defend the command. So we have to follow the same things.
Okay.
Just what I will do here is I'm going to copy all these commands again in the group. So see here, please take care of your workflow name. And here I given this workflow name in the step 1. In the step 1, whatever the workflow name you given, you need to follow the same workflow name in the other steps, or in every step you have to give the different names.
Same.
In every step you have to give the same name. And that's the reason, please run the command properly. Whatever the workflow name you are giving in the step 1, same thing you have to give in the all the other steps. Otherwise, you will get the errors. And again, I'm repeating, please don't think that you are going to perform the type of a copy paste operation. I'm explaining all the commands only, but only thing is nothing but you need to write the same command for the multiple jobs. But instead of explaining for each and every job, what I'm doing here, I am trying to pass the commands. And just observe here one more last thing. After creation of the workflow, what is the last step? I want to run the workflow. But how to run the workflow here? If you want to trigger the workflow, this is the command we need to give: gcloud dataproc workflow template. If you want to trigger, we have to give the command called as a instantiate only. But here my suggestion, before instantiating, just I'm giving the note. After creation of above steps, please open the console. In console, please verify your workflow created properly or not. See here, from the Cloud SDK shell, we are creating all the workflows and we are adding all the jobs, and indirectly, where it need to reflect everything. Everything should have to reflect on top of your console, because whatever the operations we are doing here, indirectly, all these operations are going to happen on top of your console. Just for verification, I'm telling Andy, after running all these commands, just to open the console. In the console, please verify with this name your workflow created or not. On top of that, verify whether all the jobs are added properly or not. Verify dependencies are added properly or not. If everything is looking fine, then what we can do here, then you can able to trigger the workflow. Okay, just I'm running. I'm giving all these commands in the group. Please try to run this. So please perform practicals in parallel with me. Don't think in the air. Everything will run automatically. No need to do practicals only. If you are going to perform the practicals, then only you can able to understand what activities we are performing. Don't think in the air. If you are doing like this, it will work like this. If you are thinking in the air, everything will go in air only. Please do everything in the system. And whatever the activities we are doing in the current session, same activities we are going to perform as part of our real-time projects also. Because in the real time, you won't get the access for the console. You have to do everything from the Cloud SDK only. For that reason, I am taking one separate complete class on top of our Cloud SDK. And while running all these commands, don't go blindly to run all these things. And please try to understand every command, which argument we are giving, why we are giving, what is the purpose of the argument. At least try to understand this information for 2-3 commands. Then you can go for triggering all the remaining commands. If anyone facing any issues, please let me know. I will help you. Online people, any issues? Anyone facing? So every day online, I'm seeing 65 people, but today I'm seeing only 38 people. 40 people joined and 2 people dropped. I don't know what is the reason.
Rocky effect, sir.
Rocky effect. Nice. Okay. I think yesterday also some people celebrated launch. I think some people are celebrating yesterday and celebrated yesterday, and some people are celebrating today. I think as per the timings, by 8-6 it will complete on day. That timings would be there, right? But not sure. If anyone completed all the steps, please let me know. Just a generic question. So from where we have to run all these commands? From the Unix prompt or from the Spark SQL prompt or from the Cloud SDK shell?
Cloud SDK.
Yeah. Please take care of that only. Some clever people will run all these commands from the Unix prompt also. Please don't do that. Please try to run all these commands from the Cloud SDK. That is the intention of the today's session. Okay, so few folks are saying they are completed. Just observe here and from the console how we can able to see the information. Just we need to go to the console. Please go to your workflows. Already we discussed about this topic previously. Just I'm repeating that. Please go to the workflows in the console. Please go to your workflow template. In the workflow template, you can able to see all the workflows which you created from the console or which you created from the here also. Just click on your workflow name. See here. This is my workflow, and here I added all these jobs, and all these jobs are belongs to the Spark SQL. And here we given the dependencies from the Cloud SDK. Same information we can able to see on top of your console also. Whatever we are doing from the Cloud SDK, everything will replicate on top of your console. And now, if you want, actually, you can trigger this workflow from the console. Otherwise, but our main intention is I want to perform all these kind of operations on top of the Cloud SDK. For that reason, if you want to trigger this, what we can do, just we have to give the command called as a Dataproc workflow template. Give the command as instantiate. By using this command, we can able to trigger the workflow. And after that, once we are going to trigger this workflow in the Cloud SDK shell only, you can able to see the status. We can see status whether it is running or completed. Otherwise, if you want to see the status, where we can come, you can come to the cloud console. Here, please go to your workflows. Here you can able to see the status of your workflows, and here you can able to see the template name. Beside that, you can able to see the workflow ID. Once you click on that, within that you can able to see status of all the jobs. Same operations you can able to perform from the console, or if you want from the Cloud SDK shell only. Once you run this command, it will display the status of each and every job. With that, you can able to understand what is happening in the backend. Okay, someone is saying they already ran also. That's well and good, Andy. Otherwise, please trigger it if anyone not completed the execution. Okay. Yeah, online people are saying is completed. Offline people completed. Nice. Okay. Now just observe here, Andy. What we'll do here is just I'm opening the scripts here. If you observe, we are having the total 5 different scripts here: customer underscore LO.SQL, customer underscore NY.SQL, salesman underscore LO.SQL, salesman underscore NY.SQL. Now tell me, what is the purpose of these 5 scripts? If you remember, forgot about the drop, forgot about the results underscore summary, and in between we are having the 5 different SQLs. What is the purpose of all these SQLs? Read data from JSON, and on top of that, we are creating the temp view. On top of that, we are creating the table. In the table, what we are doing, we are converting this data into the Parquet format. Now, this is the operation we are doing in the customer underscore LO.SQL table, SQL script. Okay. Now tell me, if you take the second script, are we doing any different activity, or we are doing the same activity here also? Here also same activity. And if you take the next one, salesman underscore LO. So here also what we are doing, here also we are doing the same activity, and in the NY SQL also we are doing the same activity. At the same time, in the order SQL also indirectly we are going to perform the same activity. Now you try to give the answer indirectly. In all these scripts, are we are doing the same operation or different operation? In all above scripts, we are performing similar kind of operations, but by using different file names and by using different table names. Except that logic wise, everything is same only. We are dealing with the 5 files. For that reason, you are creating, for example, 5 scripts like this. On top of that, you are performing your operation. Now, for example, in my project, I got the similar kind of requirement, but there I need to deal with the 100 files like this. I need to write data from 100 JSON files, and I need to convert all these files into Parquet format. On top of that, I want to create the tables only. Now you tell me, are we going to create the 100 SQL scripts like this? What is going to happen? We are going to use the similar kind of script, but unnecessarily what we are doing here, we are going to write the so many number of scripts only. But in all these scripts, what we are having the similar kind of logic. But unnecessarily what we are doing here, just for specifying the table name and file name, we are ending up with the so many number of scripts in the project. Indirectly, we are going to maintain redundant code in so many scripts. Now, just what we are doing here is to overcome this kind of issue, we are going to apply parameters, or we are going to apply the concept called as a parameterization. And with the help of the parameterization, what we can do here is you can able to simplify this whole process. And no need to run the 5 SQL queries here. With the single SQL script, you can able to achieve either 5 file requirement, or you can able to achieve the 100 files requirement. Now if you observe, what I will do here is, see, actually this is our script only. Here in the script, what I'm giving here, I'm given the create database name and I'm given the location. After that, we are given the use raw. After that, we are given the view name and we are given the file name. After that, we are given the table name and we are given the view name. This is the script actually we have written. Now, in this entire script, if you want to do any kind of parameterization, what are the things we can able to parameterize? In every SQL, what we are given the same bucket name. So what I can do? Instead of giving this bucket name manually, what I can do here simply, I can able to parameterize this one. And so if you want to parameterize this, just we have to give it as a $. We need to give the curly braces. Within this, you have to give the argument name. I'm giving the argument name as a bucket name, and which is nothing but just we have to give the bucket name. With that, you can able to use the same command in the other scripts also. In the same way, coming to here, what I will do is, this is the bucket name, or this is my table name or file name. For example, I'm giving it as a, this is my file name. This is the one more argument. In the same way, this one I will give it as argument. This one I will give it as argument, and here also I will give it as argument, which is nothing but my file name is a customer_LO only. If I'm giving that value as the argument, automatically what will happen when I'm running this script, it will take it as a customer_LO_v, customer_LO.json, customer_LO as a table name. It is reading the data from the customer_LO_v, which is nothing but with the single script. For example, I'm giving this script name is file converter, or I will give it as a JSON to Parquet. Just I'm giving the naming convention is, for example, JSON to Parquet. This is the naming convention I'm giving here. And now for this SQL, I want to trigger. If you want to trigger this, what we can do here is just we have to give it as like this. We are having the one more argument called as a params. So if you want to trigger this script, okay, if I want to trigger this script, what I need to do here, I need to pass the arguments. Which arguments I need to pass? I need to give the bucket name, I need to give the file name. Indirectly, we need to pass the parameters. And if you want to give the parameters, here we are having the one more argument called as a hyphen parameters. And here you tell me now which arguments we need to pass. I need to give the bucket name, so we need to give it as a bucket name, and we have to give the some bucket name here. Just to give the comma. After that, we need to give the file name, and you need to provide your file name is, for example, customer_LO. So with this, what will happen here? Instead of going to maintain the 5 different scripts, by using the only single script, we can able to achieve our requirement. And so now, for example, as I told you earlier, if you are going to deal with the 100 files also, we need to maintain the single script, or we need to maintain the 100 scripts. By using single script, you can able to achieve the requirement. This option only we are calling it as a parameterization. So far, just to not make you confusion, I'm not discussing about the parameterization. But now you are in the comfort phase. You know about how to run the jobs, how to run the workflows. We did the same activity from the console. We did the same activity from the cloud SDK also. Now we'll go a little bit advanced running, which is nothing but instead of giving all hardcode values, I want to perform the parameterization. For that reason, with the help of the parameterization, we can able to perform all these activities. Okay. Now you tell me, once we are going ahead with the parameterization, now tell me, in the scripts folder, how many files we are going to maintain? If you understood all this topic properly. In the scripts folder, as per our use case, now how many number of files we have to maintain? First file, drop.sql, that is proper. After that, we given the name as a JSON to Parquet. This is the file name I'm giving. .sql. After that, we are giving our target table name, target script as a result summary.sql, which is nothing but instead of going to maintain the 7 different SQL scripts only with the only single 3 SQL scripts, what we can do here, you can able to achieve the requirement. Now, what I will try, please understand here, copy, drop, and result summary scripts into new folder. Where we are doing this operation? In the Unix prompt. Okay, just for replicating this use case only, I want to perform all these operations with the parameterization. For that reason, please copy, drop, and result summary scripts into the new folder. For that folder, you can give some name like this, scripts 1. Earlier, I think already you're having the folder called as a scripts folder. Now, please create the new folder called as a scripts 1 folder. In this scripts 1 folder, please copy the drop SQL script and result summary SQL script. What is the command if you want to create the new folder? Please give the mkdir scripts 1.
This is outside scripts, right, sir?
Yes,
not
correct. Outside the scripts folder, please perform this. I will add that also. Otherwise, again, you will do the mistakes. Outside of the scripts folder, please do this activity. So within the scripts folder also, you can able to perform this activity only, but when you are given the path, you have to give the proper path. That's it. Please create a separate folder for this one. Give it as a, you can give any name, just for my understanding, I'm saying as give the name as a script 1. After that, copy the files from scripts folder to your scripts 1 folder. How to perform this copy operation? Please give the copy command, copy, give the path. Your path is might be home. In my case, sample / scripts / I want to copy the only one file, which is nothing but drop SQL. After that, where you want to copy? Home, sample, scripts 1. Can you simply give dot? So here I'm given the complete path because I want to copy the files from one path to other path only. Just to avoid the confusion, I am given the complete path of the file. Just here, please check your path and give the path name. In my case, home, sample, scripts, drop.sql. This file I'm copying into the scripts 1 folder. Same way, please copy the result summary folder also. So result summary script also. Result underscore summary.sql. Please copy this script into the scripts 1 folder. cd dot dot. If you want to go back, cd dot dot, then you can come out from the scripts folder. Now you need to create the okay. Now give it as JSON to Parquet SQL. So please give the script name as cat greater than JSON to Parquet SQL. There, please give these comments. I'm pinging in the group and please give this one. So please give the script name. You can give any name only, but just for understanding, I'm giving it as a JSON_2_parquet.sql. That is the script name I'm giving. In this one, I want to give the complete query with the parameters. That query, whatever we need to give, that I provided in the Telegram group. Now to come out from this, just do it as a Control+D. You can able to come out from the cat session. Now please give the ls-ltr. This has to give only 3 scripts or 3 files. Again,
So
I'm
sir,
telling,
we need
yeah.
to do from the this one point this copy drop this one all we need to do only catch command we need to do this
Yeah,
like
yes,
creating
sir.
only SQL.
Yeah, if you want to create the new script, we have to do the cat command. By using the cat command, you can able to create the new script. Got it? Or any confusion? So here we are creating a separate script. Script name we are giving it as a JSON to Parquet, and in this script we need to provide our that command whatever I shared in the Telegram group. Okay. After that, please copy these scripts into your GCS bucket into new folder. Earlier already in the GCS bucket, we are having the scripts folder. Instead of that, just give some other name only. So if you want to copy, give the same gsutil command, space, copy, space, start.star. Then provide bucket name. I'm giving name is, for example, scripts 2. Just I'm repeating, we are not doing any new activity. Same activities few minutes back, whatever we have done, we are going to perform the same activity. But here, instead of maintaining the so many number of scripts only, we are applying the parameterization. Parameterization is again one of the very important topic in the real-time projects. Don't think that in the real-time projects we are going to maintain the so many number of scripts only. We are going to generalize the script. So wherever we are having the redundant code, there we are going to apply the parameterization. With the help of the parameterization, we can able to simplify the number of scripts only. To show you that, just I'm giving this whole example. One more thing. Just create a separate folder as a scripts1. In that folder, please maintain the drop SQL file, result summary file. Other than these 2 files, maintain the one more file called as a JSON to Parquet file. It's a normal SQL file. It's a kind of a parameterized SQL file. This is the parameterized SQL file. That is the new topic we are discussing as part of this example. After that, please copy all these scripts into your GCS bucket. Now, create the workflow and continue remaining steps. So how to create the workflow only? Just I will copy all the comments again one more time here. Okay, just observe here for a few minutes only. So what I want to do here, now I want to run again all these scripts with the help of the parameter script. So for that reason, I want to create the new workflow. Further, if you want to create the again new workflow, what we can do here? Whatever the commands we discussed in the previous example, we are going to run the same commands. And the first step is nothing but we need to create the workflow. Please give the different name for this workflow only. So earlier we given the WF_SDK. Now give it as a SDK1 or you can give it some other name. After that, we need to assign the cluster by using the same command, whatever we discussed earlier. After that, I need to create the drop job. Okay, so for that reason, we are given the add-job only. Now after that, I want to add the customer_LO job. Now you tell me for this job, what is the SQL name we need to provide? Any guesses? I want to create the job
JSON
to
to
load the
Parquet.
data into the customer_LO table. For this one, we need to give the name as a customer_LO SQL, or we need to give the generic SQL. We need to give the generic SQL, whatever we create. That is the intention of this entire example. And for that reason, here just I'm giving like this. Here, Okay. Now for the customer underscore LO, I want to trigger JSON underscore to underscore parquet.sql. This is the one. This is the SQL I want to trigger. I want to give this. After that, we are giving the, so for this SQL, what we need to give? We need to pass the parameters, and for that reason, if you observe here, we are using the argument called as a parameter argument. In the earlier example, we haven't used the parameter argument, but in this example, we are given the script with the parameters. For that reason, we need to pass the parameter. How we need to pass the parameters? By using the argument called as a hyphen parameters. And now which parameters we are giving? We are given the bucket name and we are given the table name. So we have to give the bucket name properly and you have to give the table name also properly. So here first job we are given the customer underscore LO. Second one, customer NY. Third one, sales MO, sales NY and orders. Okay, which is nothing but for this SQL we need to pass the arguments. To pass the arguments, we are giving it as a hyphen parameters. By using this argument, you can able to pass your arguments. And which arguments we need to give here? You need to pass the bucket name and also you need to pass the table name. By using these arguments, if you observe here, in all the commands, what we are using? We are using the same script or we are using the different script? In all commands, we are using the same script only, which is nothing but by using the single script, you can able to load the data into the multiple tables, which is nothing but we are avoiding to maintain the multiple scripts. With the help of the single script, we can able to achieve the requirement. To do that activity, just we are adding the parameter called as a argument called as a hyphen parameters, and it is completely similar to the previous example. Only thing is nothing but here we are using the parameterized script. At the same time, we are using the argument called as a hyphen parameters, except that everything is common. Okay. Any questions again up to here? Please ask me. Now again the same question. From where we have to trigger all these things? From the Unix prompt or from the Cloud SDK shell?
Cloud SDK.
From the Cloud SDK shell, and so just I will mention that also. From Cloud SDK shell. Please run all these things from the Cloud SDK shell. Please, as I told you here, please create a separate folder. In that folder, you have to maintain only 3 scripts. One is for drop, one is for result summary, and other one is the parameterized script. And after that, please copy all these files into your bucket. Then please perform all these activities. If you observe here, there is a mistake in my command. What's the mistake? Anyone guess it? There is some mistake in my commands. What's the mistake? If you see what is the bucket name I given here, scripts 2. But here, what's the path I'm giving? Script. Okay. These things, please take care of yourself, Andy. Whatever the path you given here, please specify the same path in the arguments also. With that, it will run without passing any kind of errors. Okay. Any questions? If you have, please ask me. So just I want to add one more last statement. Whatever the workflows we are creating or whatever the parameterization we are doing, all these activities again we are going to replicate in the Airflow. All these activities will replicate in Airflow. Most of the world people are thinking Airflow is the very complex, but see here, Airflow is very simple. But when it is going to be very simple, once you understand all these concepts in the Cloud Proc, then automatically what will happen? Our orchestration tool will become as a very easy. And for example, if you are unable to understand the today's session or if you are unable to complete the today's practically, what will happen? Then you will get a lot of confusion when we are discussing about the Airflow. For that reason, please try to complete the practicals, whatever we discussed in the today's session. One thing we discussed about from the Cloud SDK, how to create jobs. After that, we discussed about how to create workflows. After that, we discussed about how to create workflows with parameterized files. So these 3 are the things you need to perform practically, because these 3 are the topics we covered as part of our today's session. Okay. So we are having this class at the 11:45. Before the 11:45, please perform this practice. If you have any questions, we can able to discuss those questions in the next session. Okay. And one more thing, in 11:45 session, we are going to start discussing about Python. In the 11:45 session, we are going to discuss about the Python. From today onwards, we are going to start with the Python. 11:45 to 1, we'll discuss about Python. After 1, if you have any questions on these practicals, we'll discuss. So this is the plan, and 11:45 to 1 we are going to discuss about the Python. We are starting with the Python, and after 1, if you have any kind of questions on the practicals, whatever you are going to perform, if you have any questions, we'll discuss. With that, we can able to wind up the today's classes. Is it fine? Okay. And please inform to your friends whomever not attended. We are going to discuss about the Python concepts, and if they are going to miss the first class, they cannot able to understand the remaining classes. Please inform them if any one of your friends are there. Okay. Thank you.
So you share this comment, sir?
Yeah, now, yeah, I will upload this entire file into the.
Okay, okay. So
Okay.
after that we can.
Yeah.
So the thing is, only the param file for the JSON to park it to SQL, we need to create and we need to move to bucket.
Exactly.
So remaining all files we are going to use with the params one.
Yes, correct.
Yes, sir? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, please move to the next room only. Here we have another class. Thank you.